Hi Gemini, welcome to your September 2025 Tarot Scope with me, Raphael from Radiant Reality. Remember, these are for your Sun, Moon and Ascendant sign. Check them out for all three so that you know which part of you I resonate with most as a reader. With that said, if you are a continued subby, you know Rafi loves you. And if you're new to my channel, please don't forget to like, share, and if you should so choose and this resonates, hit that subscribe button. With that said, I would like to bless my decks of cards with all forms of love, light, peace, prosperity, and abundance. And I pray that the messages that come through are ultimately clear and concise, and they help you on your path to your highest vibrational good. So let's have a look and see what your key to the month is. So this month you have the Moon card. Okay, so I mean, look, this is really interesting because obviously we do have the two eclipses this month. So I do want to say this month will have its own level of intensity to it regardless, because there is an eclipse. There's eclipse season this month. Also, remember that both of these eclipses are at a square energy to you, all right? Whether this is your sun, moon, or your ascendant sign, you'll still be feeling that sort of intensity. That being said, eclipses always advance us in some way, right? So now what's really at the meat of the matter is that you've got the moon card as your key to the month, which means this month, everything that you are trying to move forward with, everything that you're trying to work on, everything that you're trying to advance in some way, everything that shows up in your life that either is or is not expected, look to the past, right? The messages, the clues of how you overcome, what the next steps are, where you need to lean into, where the origins of this problem are. Look to your past, right? That's the moon card in its entirety. Not in its entirety, there's so many other things to the moon card, but that's really the biggest one. Now, the other thing that we can say with the moon card, this is about your instinctual patterns of behavior and also your reactions to things. So this month, when things come up, if they are somewhat intense, check your reaction, right? Check in with how you feel at this moment in time. Is this triggering me? That's not the question. Why is it triggering me? Why is this creating a specific type of energy within me? And why am I choosing or feeling like I need to behave in a certain way? If you can catch yourself in the moment and pay attention to these things, I promise you the nuggets of wisdom that you gain will be absolutely incredible. Now, for your actions and options, you've got the Eight of Cups. So you are kind of making steps forward this month, and you know, more than anything else, this month you've chosen to emotionally detach from someone or something. And what I like most about that is that it feels to me like you're being really honest with yourself, where, and I'm going to say this out of complete love and compassion, I feel like this is you being really honest with yourself about where you have actually gaslit yourself in the past, right? Where maybe you tried to explain somebody's bad behavior away, where maybe you didn't give yourself enough credit for knowing what you knew, and more importantly, where maybe you didn't act on certain things when you know you should have. Well, you're acting now, you're choosing to move forward now, and it's like wherever that emotional compromise has come in, or where you feel like you've been emotionally compromised, you're no longer doing it, you're no longer here for it, and you're walking away from it. For some of you, this might be a larger cycle that has played out for some time. For others, it's really strange because the feeling that I have around this is it will be a friendship of some sort. So it'll be interesting to see how that shows up. I also forgot to mention for the signs that I recorded prior to this is your the options that are available to you. With the Eight of Cups, the options that are available to you tend to be ones to have discourses or to close things down in a manner that sees you being able to move forward without whatever it is following you, or this is kind of like where you get to move forward without taking any baggage. all right, especially with the moon card here, right? So there's something that you are shutting down for good, and I think that's going to be largely positive for you. For your communications and conversations, the King of Swords has been very active this month. So, I mean, myself, I'm definitely now on not high alert, but I'm definitely like paying attention to this because obviously, in tarot terms, I am the King of Swords. So I'm kind of like, okay. Now, when it comes to your work, your profession, and your career, the King of Swords is it's literally your career and also your expertise. You've got this underneath the moon card, which means the quality of conversation that you're having this month, you're going back over old ground, old conversations that you've had around your knowledge base. You're potentially looking back into all the nuggets of wisdom and gems of information that you've collected over the years. Now, this is very much in line with the fact that we are in a universal 9-year in terms of the numerology. Now, if you want to delve into your own numerology and how that really speaks to you on a more personal level, there's a link in the description box below. You can book a numerology tarot session and we can get it kicking, right? Now, that being said, when it comes to the quality of conversation that you're having as well, you are the authority this month. Whatever it is that you're saying and presenting to the world, people are really hearing you. One thing that I do want you to watch out for, though, is how much emotion you infuse into what you're saying. There's a difference between the person who says something with passion and authority and somebody who just goes on an absolute rant, right? Even if what that person is saying in that rant is good quality information, it gets lost in the delivery. So watch your emotions this month, especially around things that trigger you, and more importantly, look at why. When it comes to those of you that are studying or in some form of academia, I really like this because it feels to me like a lot of you have been creating something or crafting something, and it's like where maybe you were really emotionally invested in this before, it's like you're able to say, okay, let me give it some breathing space. And even though, like, even with me, right, my work is me, I am my work, Radiant Reality is me, I am Radiant Reality, but at some point you do have to create some space between you and the thing. And for those of you that are studying, it's like this month you're able to do that, and you're able to see why you were so engrossed or emotionally attached to this thing in the first place. It could also be that an air sign male, Aquarius, Gemini, or Libra, is coming back into your world this month through your work, your profession, or your career. Now, for those of you that are employed by other people, this could be the beginning of the end, right? I would not be surprised if you are employed by somebody else. I would not be surprised if this is the month that you look back on and say, yeah, you know what, that was the month that did it. After that, I had decided that I was ready to move on to new work, greener pastures, more money, more responsibility. Maybe the level of knowledge, experience, and wisdom that you have in your chosen field is just not appreciated in the space that you're in. Well, maybe it is time for you to move forward, and it looks like that is the case for a lot of you. When it comes to those of you that are business owners, entrepreneurs, solopreneurs, people that work for themselves, this is again collating the data, which is something that Gemini does really, really well. The thing that's going to set this month apart from the normal spaces where you're doing this is you're bringing a cohesion to the information that you have. I say this out of all love, and I really don't mean it to be disrespectful in any way, but it's almost like you're getting more mature about your business, and you're starting to really say, right, let me cross the T's, let me dot the I's, let me put everything in a sequence. This is kind of like the difference, and don't get me wrong, I love me a messy book, right? One of my best friends, or I say we've actually never met in person, but I have a lot of love for her because she's been a constant support for me. Anyway, we agree, right? We love a messy book, like where you keep all your notes and all the rest of it. And I'm fairly certain that the herb store is probably like what I like to call organized chaos, Well, this might be the month where you start labeling, this herb is this is this is this goes in this section of the book, this goes in this. Like, you're bringing more order to everything that you have when it comes to your business. Maybe you are even getting an advisor in. Maybe you're working with somebody or alongside somebody. Maybe you're working with an accountant to get your books up to scratch. Even though you've been like really fearful of looking at it, you're like, no, you know what? I need to bite the bullet and this needs to be done. When it comes to those of you that are retired and no longer working, I think this is you looking over historical not uses of money, but it's like, maybe you're looking at the will, the estate, you're doing all of that kind of stuff. And also, for a select few of you, you might be looking at releasing some of the equity in whatever assets you have. Not guarantee, just, a possibility. For your love and relations, you have the Knight of Wands. If you are single, someone who is the best kind of someone who's the best kind of good trouble could feature for you. The Knight of Wands is a randy, horny kind of energy, right? It's sexy, it's adventurous, it's fun, it's slap and tickle, it's all of that kind of stuff. Coupled with the Moon, if you're single, this is probably an FWB, right? A friend with benefits. Maybe it's someone who you have like a little arrangement with in the background. It could be a lot of fun. You could be revisiting it. I'm going to be really honest. You may even, and I don't know if anybody else has had this, I'm probably revealing far too much about my personal life here, but fuck it, here it goes. Like sometimes when you have like a friend with benefits or whatever, it's like, sometimes when you're done, you'll talk or you'll converse, or maybe you swap messages every so often. And sometimes you end up having like a really deep conversation with that person. Like, you're never going to be an item, right? You're not compatible in that way, but it's fun. It is what it is. But every so often you'll have like a really deep sort of conversation with them where you'll give each other either really good advice or really good insight. It's quite possible, if you're single and you've got a friend with benefits, or you get one this month, that could actually happen. You end up giving each other some really good advice, or just like a shoulder that kind of gets and sees you in a way that you need to be seen at the time. For those of you that are partnered, married, or in a long-term commitment, do you remember the honeymoon days? Do you remember when you used to go 4, 5, and 6 times in an evening, etc.? This could be coming back. It could be a time where you were more adventurous in the bedroom, etc. Starts to really show up for you in some way. So that could also be a lot of fun as well. And then for your money and materials, you've got the Ace of Pentacles. We love this card for money because it usually means slow and steady, sustained growth. I will say the Ace of Pentacles also represents a new job. It can represent a new job among other things, but I will say that there's probably a jump in pay bracket for some of you. I would not be surprised if a lot of you, certainly by the end of the month, are kind of saying, yeah, you know what, I'm ready to move on. I'm ready to go for a different job, or maybe even a different arena or sector altogether. Now, when it comes to your money specifically, this is a build energy. There is good resources, there's money coming in, there's money available, and money left over spare this month. Use it wisely. When it comes to your physical health and vitality, I'm not a doctor, I can't give you medical advice. This is not a diagnosis. Disclaimer, disclaimer, disclaimer. Your healthcare professional, entertainment purposes only, all the things. When it comes to your physical health and vitality, this is a great card for health, by the way, because it always means that your body is strong, your constitution is strong, and it also suggests that you're now on an upward trajectory. So whatever challenges you've had in terms of health up until now, they're now going to start to phase out, which is great. Finally, when it comes to your home and environment, this card can also represent a new home as well. Now, that being said, I would say to you, if you are partnered, married, or in a long-term commitment, it looks like some of you could be traveling to a place that you've already been before. Only this time something different happens. It's almost like maybe you come away from it like, actually, I could live there. Do you know what I mean? Like, you might be really, really surprised at the thought. Maybe it just comes up and you're like, oh, maybe you have planned to move somewhere before and never actually got round to visiting or going or whatever. And this time you actually see it through to completion. I wouldn't be surprised if a lot of Gemini people over the course of the next year are moving, changing home, changing location within the town that they live in, etc. All in all, this is really, really nice stuff. I do want to remind you, the Architects Boardroom is open. There's a link for that in the description box below. If you're watching this as it comes out, you have about 3 or 4 days to get it at the price that it is at the moment, and then after that it's going to go up. Also want to remind you that channel memberships are back. There's a link for that in the description box below as well. You're going to get early release to content that I'll be putting out here on the channel. I'm really glad that you guys are enjoying the new stuff, by the way. You're also going to get members only content that you'll be seeing coming through shortly. And as if that wasn't enough, you're going to get a monthly live read where I'm going to pull cards specifically for the members in the community. So if you are ready and you want to get back into it, you know what to do. For your Human Design Oracle deck card, you have the Gate 52 and Stillness. Yes, it's about sitting still, silence, meditation, all of that kind of stuff. But it's also a reminder that when you get back to the stillness that resides within you, you are actually able to analyze things from a rational place instead of a reactional place. And that really is the bigger message of this month for you guys. All right. With that said, I wish you an abundance of all of that good stuff. Have a fantastic September. Let me know in the comments how it shapes up. Your monthly moon messages will be coming in separate videos, so stay tuned for those. And yeah, take care, and I'll see you soon.